Yes, but ultimately the biggest problem that Iraq faces is the fact that the United States is controlling its wealth. And this is exactly what we're now seeing in Venezuela too. And when the Iraqi government wanted to do a major deal with China, where they would sell Chinese oil and they would do projects in Iraq so that they wouldn't have to go through this process. My God, I forgot the name of the prime minister of Iraq. The Americans removed him. The prime minister of Iraq when General Soleimani was martyred. General Soleimani was martyred on his way to see, he was supposed to see the Iraqi prime minister in the morning. If you find his name, or if some of your viewers find his name, he did a major deal with the Chinese, where that Iraq would sell oil to China and China would carry out projects. And that, of course, outraged the United States, because the United States wanted control over Iraq to, hold them by the neck, just like Venezuela. And so the Americans effectively had
Mahdi.
Yes, Dr. Adel Abdul Mahdi.
Yeah.
He wanted to basically free Iraq, liberate Iraq, and his name will go down in history. But he wanted to liberate Iraq from this very disgusting stranglehold that the Americans have over the Iraqi people. But the Americans effectively had him removed from power. So yes, the removal of Western forces from Iraq is a very important first move. But ultimately, the only way to have Iraqi liberation is when the Iraqi people have control over their own money. And by the way, one thing that these Arab regimes, these family dictatorships in the Persian Gulf, one major mistake, the foolish mistake that they made by putting all their money in the U.S. and in the West, but most of their money in the U.S., they're never going to see a lot of that money ever again. It's just the Americans will never allow them to take it back. But that's a different story.
Yeah. Do you, Professor Marandi, we know with the Strait of Hormuz, the way that Iran would charge together with Oman, all these vessels going through, are they gonna use the dollar system, or are they gonna use an alternative system to this for this trade, which is so important in my opinion?
I don't know. I mean, I think that the Iranians are very keen on alternatives to the U.S. dollar in general. And so I would assume, that's what the Iranians have been working to do for very many years now. They've been changing to local currencies, working with local currencies, using the Chinese yuan as well, and with neighbors trying to eliminate the usage of the dollar in its trade. So I would assume that their priority would be to refrain from using the dollar, but I don't have the details at all.
Yeah. Thank you.
But I've been told that they will not be focused. I've been told by someone who's in the know a few weeks ago, when the negotiations first began, that the Iranians will be trying to use the dollar as little as possible.
Let me ask you a tricky question, which could be somehow challenging. Is the Pakistani Defense Minister Asif? He said that the doors are open for those countries who want to join the military pact between Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan. Do you see a moment that Iran would consider that to join them?
I think I'm sure that if Iran saw any agreement that was designed to protect the people of the region against the Israeli regime, that if it was sincere and if it was real, or against the U.S. empire, that Iran would be very interested in cooperating and perhaps joining. But I don't see this as, the Israelis may complain about it, but I don't see this as being directed at Israel at all, because the past event, these are again, this does not reflect on the people of Pakistan. I know that in Pakistan, some people get very angry when I say this. It's a fact. These governments did not do anything against Israel, and they did not condemn the United States in attacking Iran. And at the moment, I don't see this as an effective grouping anyway. But this again, it doesn't reflect on when It's like saying, I mean, right now, I've always been stressing that, in my recent clash with Alan Dershowitz, I said that 44%, I think, of young American Jews believe that Palestinians and Jews should have equal rights. That's the Iranian position. That's Ayatollah Khamenei's position. That is the position that Iran has had for the last 47, 48 years. And and then that doesn't mean 56% are racist. Those 56%, some of them want a two-state solution. Some of them, I didn't see the entire. I just know the 44% because I heard Max Blumenthal, the excellent Jewish journalist and very principled and heroic young man, say this. So, but the point is that young Jews in the United States don't support Netanyahu's genocidal policies. So whenever I'm speaking about the United States, I'm not speaking about the American people. If I'm speaking about Saudi Arabia, I'm not speaking about ordinary Saudis. If I'm speaking about Turkey, I'm not speaking about ordinary Turks. In Turkey, almost 100% of the people despise the Israeli regime. So when the government engages with Israel, obviously, overwhelmingly, people are not satisfied with that. So it doesn't reflect on individuals or society. But at the end of the day, a grouping that suddenly emerges after Saudi Arabia has bombed a country that it has besieged and starved for years, and after it has bombed another neighbor and killing its soldiers, and after it has helped the United States bomb Iran and kills thousands of Iranians, the United States and the Israelis, suddenly coming, and engaging with them in a pact at a time when the Palestinians have been, being slaughtered for decades, but the genocide has been going on for almost 3 years now. It doesn't create great confidence.
Yeah. The other point that the Pakistani defense minister mentioned, which is significant, is that he says when it comes to Israel, all Muslim countries should come together. There is absolutely no ambiguity in my mind about that. And given Israel's current conduct, as well as the historical evidence of what has happened, what has been doing at one stage in 1948 or 47, and consider an illegitimate state came into being. He's talking about Israel. And I believe a product of the Balfour, I believe it was a product of Balfour Declaration. This is the mindset, I think, the Pakistani defense minister, we know his sort of a stance on Israel, but it means that their people, public opinion in Pakistan, as you've mentioned, there's so much against what's going on between Israel and Palestine.
Of course, and
this is important.
Of course, and Nima, one of the things that worried Saudi Arabia a lot, and their lobby in Pakistan, which they fund, was seeing Iran do so well on the battlefield against the United States, because Saudi Arabia was with the United States in trying to destroy Iran, and the people of Pakistan were siding with Iran. And so now you see those forces, those well-funded people, and online and through their social media, bots and trolls, that they, of course, are trying to now, ever since, for the last few weeks, ever since Saudi Arabia has been bombing Yemen, and ever since the war between Iran and the Americans restarted, they've become very active against Iran. And you can see that it's been going on for a few weeks now. And it doesn't reflect the opinion of the Pakistani people, obviously. As I said, if you look at the online social media when it comes to Iran, the so-called Iranians, you'd think you'd be shocked and you'd have a heart attack just seeing the funeral. or the way in which Iran conducts itself. The online world is different from the real world. It's a totally different thing. The money, the manipulation, the the way in which the forces of empire influence the algorithms and so on, that makes it a very different world. But in any case, if any grouping of any alliance was to defend the people of Palestine, well, we all know what can be done. Turkey, the government of Turkey should cut off the oil today and break off political relations. That can be done easily. Just shut down the embassy, shut down all trade, shut down the oil. The same, the Saudis can move and collaborate with Yemen and say, yes, the Israeli regime can no longer use the Bab al-Mandab Strait. I mean, if collaborate, they can help and send troops to Lebanon to help defend the Lebanese people, and to Syria to defend southern Syria. I mean, why Saudi Arabia? Why not Lebanon? Why not the Bab al-Mandab? Why not the Red Sea? Why not Syria? So while there are excellent people in all these countries, but this gathering that we saw at that particular moment, after all that has happened in this region, it doesn't inspire confidence.